What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Ao, and thanks for joining us for the news this evening. A new report suggests that China could be seizing on U.S. President Donald Trump's push for a trade deal to press Washington to go a step further on Taiwan and openly declare opposition to Taiwan independence. Alan Liu reports on Beijing's latest bid to isolate Taipei.
According to the Wall Street Journal, ongoing trade talks between the Trump administration and China may be furthering goals that Chinese President Xi Jinping has held for years.
两岸同胞一家亲，谁也无法隔断我们的血脉亲情，谁也不能阻挡祖国统一的历史大势。
Beijing views Taiwan as its territory and considers questions about the country an internal matter. Although it has not ruled out the use of force in taking Taiwan, it has so far taken a softer approach, using legal warfare, working to isolate Taiwan diplomatically, and slowly asserting military pressure.
Tensions erupt in the Taiwan Strait. China launches one of its largest military drills in years.
Now, China may actually be leveraging trade talks with the U.S. to further isolate Taiwan. The Wall Street Journal report says Xi is planning to push U.S. President Donald Trump to adopt a tougher stance on Taiwan as part of its trade deal with the U.S. It says Xi plans to push Trump to say the U.S. opposes Taiwan independence, a break from previous phrasing saying it does not support it. With China and the U.S. imposing steep tariffs on each other, analysts question whether political concessions will be used to break the impasse.
The U.S. has a long-term policy of its Taiwan policy and also its One China policy. That is, the U.S. will not change its position on Taiwan's legal status and also do not push for any kinds of talks between the two sides of the cross strait. So I think that it is very little, there's very, very little chance that the U.S. will change any kinds of this symbolic move.
While it's unclear whether Trump could be swayed by Chinese pressure, Taiwan's foreign ministry says it's taking the matter seriously.
近日联大期间，包括美日韩三国的外长会议以及 G7 外长会议的联合声明，都再度重申支持维持台海和平与稳定，以及反对任何片面改变现状企图的立场。
All this comes amid a rocky stretch in U.S.-Taiwan relations. Earlier this month, the Trump administration reportedly delayed military aid to Taiwan, and in July denied President Lai Ching-te a U.S. transit in the country, forcing him to cancel a Latin America trip. These moves raising questions in Washington and Taipei over whether Trump is prioritizing deal-making over support for Taiwan.
也因为川普总统这种做法，更强化了中国很多学者他们的这种想法，他们觉得说川普应该是可以交易的。
Taiwan has faced pressure from China for decades, and with doubts growing about its relationship with its key backer, the U.S., its future looks increasingly uncertain. What is certain is that as Washington and Beijing work to resolve their trade impasse, Taiwan will be focused on the terms of that deal. Scott Huang and Alan Liu for TaiwanPlus.
For more on how the U.S. has traditionally reacted to China's demands for a change of policy on Taiwan, Isabel Wong spoke with former U.S. Assistant Defense Secretary Randall Shriver in Taipei.
So when people look at President Trump, he's very hard to predict, and then you personally work with him very closely. What is his decision-making process like looking at U.S.-Taiwan-China relation?
I haven't seen any signs that he views Taiwan as a bargaining chip, as you sometimes hear when you talk to people here, or that he's on the brink of making huge concessions related to Taiwan. I don't know him that well, but I did spend some time supporting the Korea diplomacy, and I was with him in Hanoi when he walked away from a deal with the North Koreans. He said it was a bad deal, and sometimes you walk away from a bad deal. So in my experience, he is transactional, but really still grounded to American interests and unlikely to take a bad deal as long as he recognizes it's a bad deal.
In November, we all know that Trump will potentially meet with his Chinese leader Xi Jinping. What do you think that the topics they will probably talk about or Taiwan related?
it's quite common for China to make attempts at linkages. Well, if you want this on trade, you've got to do this on Taiwan. I don't think that's going to be a very attractive offer to the president. I don't think he will want to look weak. I don't think he'll want to make a move that looks like he made too many concessions to Xi Jinping.
I want to quote here, because Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent actually commented about the chip about Taiwan as well. And then there he said, the single greatest point of failure for the world economy is the 99% of the high performance chips that are produced in Taiwan. So he's trying to de-risk by moving more chips production elsewhere. So what do you think about that?
I can't speak for him, and I can't interpret exactly what he meant.
Just in general, like the U.S. administration has moved by doing that.
Yeah, to me it suggests Taiwan should be a closer partner and a stronger partner, and that our economies are complementary, not competitive. We should have a lot of confidence in Taiwan's ability to continue to play that role as a global leader, particularly a dominant leader in the supply chain when it comes to these high-end chips. Yes, the U.S. would like to see some of that production, manufacturing move to the United States. Yes, we'd like to see some of the supply chain also move to the United States so that we have some clean and secure capability to manufacture. But it would be unrealistic if by de-risk they mean 100%.
No, they mentioned like 30, 40, 50%.
Yeah. I understand the interest on the part of the administration in the United States, but that's a negotiation. Taiwan has chips to bring to the table too, no pun intended.
That was former U.S. Assistant Defense Secretary Randall Shriver. You can watch the full interview on an upcoming episode of Zoom In, Zoom Out here on TaiwanPlus. A fresh push for U.S.-made chips could link Taiwan's tariff relief to building more chip capacity in America. At least, that's according to Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who said the U.S. needs something in exchange for, quote, protecting Taiwan. But as Chris Gorn reports, such a plan might not be so easy.
The United States may require that for every chip imported from Taiwan, one chip be produced in the U.S. as part of a broader trade deal with Taipei. That's according to U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick in a recent interview. It comes as Taipei and Washington negotiate a deal to lower the 20% tariff on most Taiwanese goods and avoid special semiconductor tariffs. Lutnick says he's given Taiwan a proposal on chip production, saying, quote, "The idea that I pitched them was, let's get to 50-50. We're producing half and you're producing half. We're still fundamentally reliant upon you because we can't live without the other half. But if we have half, we have the capacity to do what we need to do if we need to do it." And he goes on to say regarding Taiwan making most of the world's chips, quote, "Donald Trump would say it's not healthy for you or healthy for us because we protect you. And for us to protect you, you need to help us achieve reasonable self-sufficiency." The White House has so far not responded to requests for comment. Taiwan's Office of Trade Negotiations declined to comment. Some lawmakers from the opposition KMT have criticized Lutnick's proposal, saying it would forcibly split production of Taiwan's most critical industry. Getting anywhere near 50-50 chip production would take time and lots of money. Taiwan's chip giant TSMC has already committed $165 billion to its U.S. build-out in Arizona, the largest foreign investment in U.S. history. And it says about 30% of its 2-nanometer capacity will eventually be in Arizona once all sites are built, far from half of all chips. Neither Taipei nor Washington has made an official statement on a deal, so things could still change, and we'll be watching for critical developments. Alex Chun and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Recovery efforts in the wake of Typhoon Ragasa are still underway in the worst-hit parts of the country. As Leslie Yao reports, volunteers have surged into the affected area to help clean up debris, but there are still concerns about the prospects of a timely recovery.
1 week after Typhoon Ragasa slammed into Taiwan, cleanup efforts are still underway in the country. The strongest storm of the year killed at least 18 people, according to authorities. Strong floods surged into Guangfu Township in eastern Taiwan's Hualien County after a lake in the mountains above overflowed from heavy rains. Bulldozers, brooms, and shovels. Volunteers are using anything at their disposal to clear debris from a blocked-off road. Many of them have come from other parts of the country to help out. But after long journeys to get here, volunteers face rigorous work and difficult conditions.
不太能走路。
有蛮大一部分都是外伤，就是各种这个擦挫伤啦、割伤啦，然后甚至有一些人是因为一直不断的铲土之后造成的扭伤。内科的病人大部分都是因为天气太热了，有一些热伤害。
With more volunteers arriving, some are questioning how they're being allocated.
我们现在有几个部落反映，就是我们协助的志工有点偏少，那他们的这个清理速度比较慢。
But time is ticking on the support these volunteers are bringing. Many of them have come over a long holiday weekend to help out. But many will need to return home for work on Tuesday.
到明天才会离开。就整个连假都在这边。对。
There's concern here that once this weekend's volunteers head back home, there won't be enough helping hands needed to dig this town out of the mud and get it back on its feet. But with the military also helping with the recovery efforts, the goal is to have everything cleaned up by the first weekend in October. Hank Xu and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has nabbed 1 gold and 2 silvers at a major international badminton tournament in southern Taiwan. With nearly 300 players joining from around the world, TaiwanPlus went to the finals to find out who's coming out on top.
The crowd goes wild as Taiwan's badminton player Wang Bowei defeats his opponent Panachapporn Taratsukun of Thailand in 2 of 3 rounds at the 2025 Victor Kaohsiung Masters Finals. That win bagging Taiwan's first gold at the event.
The men's single champion from Chinese Taipei, Wang Bowei.
But reaching the top of the podium wasn't easy. It was a tightly fought game that left both players exhausted by the 3rd round. Wang says he pushed through, determined to win.
撑不住的时候，就听到他们的加油声，也会告诉自己要撑下去，就是不能辜负大家的期望跟加油。
Meanwhile, Taiwan's mixed doubles team, Wu Sheni and Yang Chuyun, won silver after being defeated by their Japanese opponents Koga Akira and Ima Yuho. The duo previously won gold at the World University Games in Germany this summer. They say this game is pushing them to improve for future matches.
我觉得我有临场反应吧，就是有时候在比赛中遇到问题没办法解决，对，我要去改进。
Taiwan also picked up another silver medal in men's doubles, with Su Qingheng and Wu Guanshun rounding out the tournament's medal haul. The finals drew massive crowds, not just for the championship match, but also for a special highlight, the Red Bull Battle of Rackets 3-on-3 Showdown, a fun twist on traditional training. And a special appearance from Taiwan's badminton star Dai Ziying, who participated in a performance match, marking her first time back on court since knee surgery last year.
现在还是一样在复原的阶段，医生应该是建议我不要下来就是打，因为他怕我会不小心就是跑动范围太大，然后会伤到，所以医生有交代我只可以1步的距离，我刚好像有不小心超过了。今天其实看到蛮多人都还有留下来继续看球，其实很开心。
Dai recently made headlines after a year without playing in any tournaments, causing her world ranking points to reset to 0. But despite the setback, Badminton World Federation commentator Jill Clark called her the greatest women's singles player of all time. As Taiwan closes the Victor Kaohsiung Masters with 1 gold and 2 silvers, the real reward for the fans is more than the medal tally, as they lift athletes' spirits and get a rare treat seeing the queen of Taiwan badminton return to the court. Ryan Wu, Sandy Chi and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
And thanks again for joining us here on What's Up Taiwan. Head over to our website to see more of our news reports and other programs. Finally, check out these young ballet dancers auditioning for a spot in the renowned Bolshoi Ballet. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and Osaka, download the TaiwanPlus app.